Welcome to Good News Reflections from the Lakes Church here in Wapaka. It's the second day of a new year. For many of us, we are ready to turn the page from 2020 and say good riddance to it. My name is Bruce Bushweiler, and for today's reflections, we're starting the book of Thessalonians. As always, I encourage you to read the entire chapter. It's short, but it carries an important message. Paul is writing this letter to the church in Thessalonica, of course, not the church as we might think of a building, but rather the small group of believers that he had left after preaching the gospel there a short time ago. Paul had recently sent Timothy back to Thessalonica to find out how their new faith was progressing. Paul was thrilled to hear from Timothy that their faith was strong and they had become an example to many people and nations around them. Paul starts the letter, as he does several other times, with the statement, "Grace and peace be to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ." I just love it when a pastor starts either a worship service or especially the sermon with these words. It sets my heart at ease that he or she is about to share words of wisdom directly from the Lord. Paul uses three words in the next paragraph that pretty much sum up Christianity: faith, love, and endurance. The Christian walk begins with faith, or trusting that the word is true and trustworthy. Then it must include a life of love, both the Father and our fellow man. And then, of course, the endurance to carry both the faith and the love to the end. Of the three, endurance might be the most difficult. Sure, faith takes, as they say, a leap of faith, because the gospel in some ways is too much for us to really take in completely. And love, well, that's a daily thing that we must work at, because just let's face it, some aspects of life are just hard to love. But endurance, that's quite another matter. I recently read the book Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. This is a book written in the 1670s that continues to be on the bestseller list after 350 years. It describes Christians, which is a person's, journey to the celestial city, heaven. It spells out all the pitfalls a Christian might encounter during a lifetime of following Jesus. If you haven't read The Pilgrim's Progress, I would encourage you to do so this long winter. It's enlightening and thought-provoking. In closing, Paul notes in verses 7 and 8 that the Thessalonians have been a model to all believers in Macedonia and Achaia. The Lord's message rang out from you not only to Macedonia and Achaia, your faith in God has become known everywhere. I would challenge us at the Lakes to become known as a church whose faith in God has become known everywhere.